Welcome to Dark Sorcery. I'm Alfredo Martinez, and I have with me Ikela Morningstar. And welcome to another episode of DreamCatcherz. And this episode, our topic is your foundation. And a magical foundation is something that's so important, especially to people who are starting out with. You might say, what does a foundation look like? Well, take for instance, when I was starting out, I started out doing Golden Dawn magic and following examples with that. And then eventually I started developing my own way of setting up my altar and finding different ways of working with energy that works for me specifically. And from there, I was able to build my foundation and adopt my own style. But what would you say a foundation looks like, or building a foundation?
That's a great question, and I had a lot of different thoughts coming to my mind when you were saying that. It's funny because when I first started, like, I was reading on how, you pick your god and goddess, and then, you give them offerings, and you do this, and you got to do all this and that, and wear this, and take a shower, and spin upside down on your head, and it was like, whoa, this is, like, too overwhelming. And the way it was presented to me was like looking at a goddess, like as if she's higher than me, and it just didn't feel right. That's kind of like with religion when you're praying to the sky god. I didn't connect. I didn't feel right. And so I read a lot of books. I watched YouTube videos, but at the end of the day, I didn't end up following any of it. I just started getting messages of my own. And so, like, I would get little ideas about, like, setting up candles in a circle around crystals. And so I was like, hey, I really like that. That really works. I'm using that with my type of, energy balls that I do. Because I kind of started out with, like, trying to heal people. And I realized that I have quite a bit of power within this energy that I'm emitting over whatever spell I'm doing. And so along the way, like I said, I think I pick and choose what feels right. I try to trust my intuition. Like, if I'm hearing somebody say something, like, does that really feel right to me? Because none of us are going to have the exact same foundation. And so ask questions, disregards, if someone tells you 10 things and only one of it feels right, add that to your foundation. And also, like, I didn't really like when I'd read certain books and they'd use all these big words, like, to try to confuse you. I would just, like, throw that in the trash. I don't got time for that. I want it simple. I got my crystals, I got my candles, I got my sage. Honestly, I could do a ritual with just the 3 basic things right there. I don't need a lot of it, because I am the tool. I am the practitioner. I am creating this magic. I'm the source of that. And so it's not about the tools. However, tools are really good. They're a visual setup for your subconscious mind. So, like, I know Alfredo likes to set up all the elements when he does his rituals, because that's what helps him tune into his, subconsciousness. So it's kind of good to see, like, what helps you tune into the frequency to put your intention into the spell.
Yeah. And like we were saying before, that, everybody has their own style. But I mean, developing a foundation is very important, because if you don't have a foundation to start on, it's like going in a million directions at once and not getting anywhere in particular. You have to experiment and see what feels right for you. You can read all the books you want, but until you start practicing even just something as simple as a candle spell and seeing how that works, how you move your hands over your altar. With me, I'll get some I'll meditate and imagine the energy going through my hands, and I'll just kind of rub it over my altar, that type of thing. And a lot of times you can feel the power just building up that way, and that might work. But why would you say building a foundation is important?
Well, like you said, it's really easy to get really, like, caught up, and there's so many different paths with this with magic. There's so many different titles. There's so many different ways. And I really like to do my own thing. People get really caught up on the titles. Like, I'm eclectic, I'm gray, I'm green, and I wouldn't really worry too much about a title for yourself, because that's just a title to describe a way of doing something. So don't let that get you caught up in which way you're going to go. Just start picking little things, like picking berries, put it in your basket, and keep it really simple in the beginning. Like you said, get a candle. Like, try to meditate and see if you can move the flames with your
meditation thoughts. Is important. Yeah.
Like, Oh, yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Meditation has got to be key for you because honestly, your intention and your spell has everything to do with your mind and how you can put that intention into the spell. That's a really good thing. I'm really glad that you
It
brought
is.
that.
It is because if you take time to meditate every day, that means that you have a little more control and direction as far as working with energy. And you'll notice a difference over time the more that you do take time to meditate. Some mistakes that people can make when trying to find their foundation is, and I've seen this happen a million times, is some people will get obsessed with like an author. Like they'll read a really good book from an author, right? And then they'll say, well, I'm going to read all his books. So they read all his books. They say, okay, I'm only going to follow his style and I'm only going to, follow his teachings. Well, you're really missing out on a lot. See what else is out there. That's one common mistake that I think some people make when trying to build a foundation. What do you think?
I agree. I think, like I said, like I have not followed anyone in particular. I will talk to people. I will see what they do. I will take something. I'll even twist it and make it my own.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, if it's not your own, it's not going to be powerful magic because you're the magician, you're the practitioner. So you want to practice and see what feels right. Another thing is to really get into the habit too. If you're going to do a ritual, let's say you do a basic like candle ritual, do it 5 days in a row. By the 5th day, you're going to master that, whatever candle ritual that you did. It could have been as simple as like a meditation on how to move the flame. I'm sure by the 5th day, you're going to be moving some flames. And then that's going to build your confidence, which builds on your foundation.
Yeah. And, not everybody, some people are more, I guess you could say, vibe with certain techniques than others. Like take, for instance, some people may not be good at astral traveling. However, they may be good instead at practical magic, like moving, building a deck of cards and trying to knock it down with your mind and stuff like that. So that's another reason why you don't want to just stick to one type of teaching, because you may vibrate with a different kind of teaching and be twice as powerful and not even be knowing it, because you're just putting yourself in this, enclosure that you miss out on a lot of opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
And, as far as, cementing your foundation, I would say it's just a matter of just doing the same thing over, just basically seeing what resonates with you. You could do something for so long, and if it doesn't seem right, mix it up, try something different. If you don't like practicing indoors, practice outdoors. Maybe if you don't like working with a certain element, maybe you're more in tune with a different type of element, and you'll be more powerful that way. What do you think, Ikela?
Yeah, I think it's really important to be in tune with yourself. So meditation is very important. What I suggest that you do is that if you do something or you start practicing something and something just feels like, like you just feel like you're going in motion, it doesn't feel right, I wouldn't even go that route, because that's kind of how I got my foundation, was filling things out. And I'm like, I'm doing this, but I don't feel connected to it and it doesn't feel right. So you know what? I don't do that anymore. So being in tune with your intuition and having a knowing of yourself.
Yeah, you don't want to. It's been my experience that you don't want to second guess yourself when you're sensing energy. You don't want to say, well, this kind of feels bad, but so-and-so said it's okay. So no.
Stop asking questions. Stop asking other people for the answers that you have inside.
And don't try to justify what you think is best for you when you have no idea what's in store for you. If you just go with that energetic flow of what feels right for you, because you're not going to vibe the same way that someone else vibes. You got to find your own way.
Yeah. And I know, like me and Alfredo were talking last night about how a lot of people in the beginning, when they're first coming into this, they'll be like, can I have a spell for this? Can I have a spell for that? And really, you can follow my spells if you want to a T, but if you don't make it into your own, it's not going to be as powerful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had explained before about just, you'll get to the point to where you'll just be able to just grab whatever supplies you have on hand and just come up with a spell just off the top of your head, just like that. You'll be able to do that and work with, and when you work with your chakras a lot, you'll be able to work with the energy work of your hands too. That'll become something. I don't know. I know that some people, as they go on with their path, sometimes they'll start to get static in their hands because they're so used to working with the energy. That happens to me sometimes. But yeah, your body will begin to become very sensitive to these energies and begin responding to them easily. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it just happens with time, and how far you want to get is how much intention and how much time you put into it.
Exactly.
I think we've talked about this before. Like, just because someone has 10 years experience doesn't mean that you can't become more tenured than them with knowledge and stuff like that. So
yeah,
it's really going to be
you get what you
on
put
you.
into it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was a pretty good discussion. I think we pretty much broke down basics as far as finding a foundation, magical foundation. So thanks for tuning in to another episode of DreamCatcherz, and you all have a good day.
Bye.